Tape measure tips and tricks, plumbing 101. Let's talk about how to use a tape measure and how to use a tape measure the right way. Now, we all know how to use a tape measure, right? You just take a tape measure, go out to whatever it is you want to touch, and then find out what it is you're trying to measure it to. Now, I'm not sure if you know how to read a tape measure. That's a little different. You've got measurements from 1/16 to 8ths to quarters to halves. And even some pipe fitters and stuff may measure in 30 seconds because they really want to get close to make sure everything is precise and they don't have to fight anything level. But really, you just slide a tape measure out to whatever it is you want to measure and then look at right where it lines up and be very specific. Learn how to read a tape measure where you know for sure exactly what it is that you're measuring, and that way you know that when you cut something, it's going to be right. There's an old saying that says, measure twice, cut once. Always make sure that whatever it is you're going to do, you do it right. So before I go into them, I want to show you, this is a clear tape measure to show you how they actually work. When you pull it out, you see that the tape has a curve to it. Now the curve is so that you can stick it out further. I mean, right here, I'm out 6 feet. So if I wanted to measure, rats are freaking everywhere. It's all right, we're getting rid of them. But if I wanted to measure how far it is from that rat to me right here, I can just hold that out. Well, it's 6 feet to right here where I'm at. And that's a good thing to see, a good thing to know, because you just may need to pull a measurement real quick. And if your tape is good and it will go out far, see, we're almost at 7 feet right there. I mean, at 7 feet, y'all see, my tape measure's not broken over there. So I like this, but you've got a spring inside and you can't really see it from the back, but there's a spring inside there that makes everything reel back in. You've got a lock here on the top. That way, if you pull it out and you're wanting to line something up, it makes it easier. You've got a belt clip on here, and some of them even have a lanyard or a spot for a lanyard. Now to me, the lanyard would probably get in the way a lot, but it's nice to have, I guess, if you want to hang it on your tool belt or something like that. So I do like these clear tape measures just for things like this. And if you roll this one over backwards, it's got your marks for 1/8 inch, you know, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, anything like that. So literally, if you're looking at it on the front and say you hadn't learned quite how to read one, well, this one's got it on the front too. So your tape measure does flip over. Okay, you can look at it down here and see what you're at. 2'1" or 25 inches. And I like all the different markings on here because it shows you exactly where you're at. This would actually be a good tape measure to learn with because it does have your 1/8 inch, your 1/4, your 3/8, your 1/2 inch and everything coming up. Now, it doesn't have the 16th, but that would be a lot of numbers to be putting in that small of an area. So I really do, I like certain things about this, but the clear tape measure, I probably wouldn't have this out in the field, but around the office, something like that, or just here for videos to show you how to do different things like that, it's a good tool to have. Now, as you see, there's many different tape measures. And as you can tell, I've probably got a favorite or two in here. To be honest, I love the new Milwaukees. And I like the fact that, you know, they've got it open here on the bottom. There's a lot of cool stuff about it. Now, the lanyard that I talked about on the clear tape, it's got it built on here. But if you look on the back of my Milwaukee, it's got a spot for a lanyard too. Now, like I said, I never used a lanyard much. I always just clipped them right on my belt. And I love the belt clips. It's one thing I love about the Wrangler. I call them the Roger Wakefield jeans, the ones with the R, the RW. I think Wrangler thinks it means rugged wear. But I love it because they've got the little leather pouch right there, leather patch. You can tell someone that's been throwing an old tape measure on their pocket every day for years, it starts wearing and tearing the jeans here. So Wrangler put that on there to keep that from happening. Another thing about the Milwaukee, if you scroll down here on the back, 1/4 inch scale. Now I love this because if you're out in the field and you do have to use a scale rule to measure blueprints, number one, make sure you're on the right scale. But I love that it's got the 1/4 inch scale right here because if you're on a job and you need to measure something, and you don't have a scale rule with you, this has got it right here where you don't have to do the conversions in your head. Now me, I learned to do that, so it was always easy for me. But I love the fact that they've got it right here on the back of the tape from 10 inches to 22, so there's your 12 inches, but it's got your full scale rule. And then from this end, it's an 1/8 inch. So you've got 1/4 inch down here, 1/8 inch here going the other way. Great thing to have on a tape. Can't believe I hadn't seen it before, or can't believe nobody's ever done it before, but I love that. Another thing is a nail slide. Now, a lot of people probably don't even know what that's for. But the cool thing about it is if I wanted to measure from the nail to, say, the center of my chain here, literally that nail slot clips right on it. So now it doesn't matter where I go, the wall may move. So no matter where I go, I can reach out and hook it right on that nail. Now, no matter where I go to, say I was trying to lay out a circle and I wanted to make it 48 inches, I could make a mark here, swing around, make a mark here, and keep going around. So you may want to look at the end of it and see if you're trying to pull it off center. If that hooks on that nail, is the end right at center? On this is pretty daggum close. But a nail slide is something that does come in handy. And just sliding my fingers up and down the end of this, there's a coating on the end of the tape. And this is a protective coating because the tip of the tape is normally what breaks off. But it's nice to have things like this in order to do what you're trying to do. So a nail slot is just a good thing to have on a tape and to know what it's all about. Okay, another thing is inside or outside. And this is really good because if you notice the metal piece here on the end, it slides just a little bit. Now, it really should slide just about the thickness that it is, because tape measures are designed that if I push up against this, my tape comes up to this. Now I'm measuring directly from the edge. But if there was a lip here and I was pulling on it, it would allow me to pull my measurement from that inside edge. And the tape shifts to make that happen. So having this part here where it slides inside and outside here, it makes it really nice. And it's not anything we think about. We just know that if I hook on the back side of this chain, I'm actually pulling a measurement from there. But if I hook on the inside of it or push up against it, it's pulling my measurement from there. Now, a trick that a lot of people don't even know is the black diamonds on a tape. And what this is, it's truss marks. Now, if you can look up here and see the trusses here, you see that they didn't have anything like this. Yeah, these are on about 4-foot centers, not where they should be. But then again, this is a barn. When you do an outside building, a barn, a shed, anything like that, people tend to go a little bit wider on their measurement. But these truss marks are really good because they're at 19 3/16. So every 19 3/16, there's another black diamond. And what that's for is if you're walking up on the header and you're trying to lay out where your trusses go, you make a mark at every black diamond. Now, if I was putting a roof on this barn or putting rafters up, rafters, trusses, anything like that, I would want to make sure that I start at the same end, because if I start at this corner on this side, this corner on this side, it may get them off a little bit. So make sure you start at the same end. But the neat thing about it and why they do that is if you go out and you see these black diamonds all the way down, whenever you get to 8 feet, there's a black diamond there. So if you think about it, if I've got my trusses laid out center to center on these black diamonds, now if I'm wanting to deck that area, I can literally go up and lay down a sheet of plywood, and at 8 feet, it's gonna end right on a truss, right on a rafter, right where I want it to. Now, there's another thing that a lot of people don't know about. You've got the red squares. Now, the red squares are at 16, 32, 48, every 16 inches. And what those are for laying out the studs in the wall. 16 inches used to be the standard. Now, here lately, they tend to spread that out a little bit depending on what code will allow. For outdoor buildings, like I talked about a while ago, a shed, they can go up to 24 inches, and normally that's not a problem. But having them at 16 inches is gonna give you more support. It's gonna be a sturdier wall. But if you're laying out something, you wanna know exactly what you're allowed to do by code. Okay, so another good thing is a top hook. Now, some tape measures don't have it. And you can see this one right here's been around a while. There's no markings on the back. This is an old tape, and it locks and unlocks down here on the bottom, but we'll get to that in a minute. But there's no top hook on it. So if I were trying to measure from the bottom side, there's nothing here to hook that onto. But if you've got a top hook on your tape, See how it grabs that 2x4? It makes it really easy to do stuff like that. And a top hook is something that really can come in handy sometimes. Another thing that most tools have is a scribe. Now this one here, the way it's got the notch there, it makes it easy to do. But if you come back to this clear tape, see how it's got all the notches here? So if I knew that I wanted to measure 2 feet from the end of this table, and I set it right there, all I've got to do is grab this and move this back and forth a little bit. Now it's made a mark right there. Now it's really easy for me to do that. Now I know that's where I want to turn my line up or whatever it is I'm trying to do it. But having a scribe or using it and learning how to use it the right way can really come in handy and is very beneficial. If you don't have a pen or you don't have a pencil, something in your pocket, you can still make a mark. Now, one other good thing is the case measurement. And you'll have to look, but like the case measurement on this one is 3 9/16 inches. Now, it also gives it to me in millimeters, which is funny because we don't have millimeters on here. But if I were measuring this overall length, I could come down and bring my tape right up to the very edge of it on the inside. And as long as I've got my case flush with the edge of the wood, all I got to do is add this measurement to the numbers that I see here. Now I come out. This one here is good because it actually measures 6 foot and about 1/32 because it's halfway between the 16th and the 6 foot mark. But if I take my measurement over here, add it to this, I can see right where I'm at. Knowing how wide your case is always a good thing. And always check too, because you may think, okay, it's 3 9/16. Well, see, like this one is 3 1/8. And if you look at them, there's definitely a difference. So make sure you look at the back of your tape and know what that measurement is. This one's 3 1/2. So make sure you know what that measurement is before you make a mark, before you make a cut, before you do anything like that. So the inside measurement is good, like if you're trying to measure inside of something. So say this was a wall and you wanted to hook on here, you go right up against that wall. Well, now this one's easy because I'm right at 7 inches on the tape, and you can lock it down, which is another great tool. So you take your 7 inches, add 3 9/16. So I know this is 10 9/16, and I can unlock it and double check it, and there it is, 10 9/16 right on the nose. Guys, things like this are great to know. Having a right tape that has all the different features on it might be worth a few extra dollars. It really does come in handy. I think Milwaukee's done a really good job on their tapes, and you know that's why it's probably the one that I use the most nowadays. But another thing that we've come out with here lately is the laser. This is great because if I want to know how far that rat is from me right here, I can put it right on his nose and it tells me he's 99 5/16 inches. Guys, this is put out by DeWalt. It's something that I really do enjoy. Again, you want to measure inside on this. Yeah, you line this up. I'm right on this top where that tape would have been, and you get 10 9/16 on the rule. So guys, these are great things. I love these for like measuring height. If you need to know how far it is up from, say I wanted to know how much room I have between here and that arm above me, it's 47 1/4 inches. So things like this are great to have. They come in handy. These are different things that tape measures do that can actually make your job easier. If you know some tricks or you know some things about a tape measure I didn't even mention, like using the different stops and locking it, some are on top, some are on bottom. If there's anything that I didn't mention that you think is very important about a tape measure that people should know, do me a favor and leave me a comment down here below. If you've already subscribed and you hadn't ring the button yet, ring the button so you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And if you like what you saw in this one, I definitely think you're gonna like that one.